Hello everyone and welcome to our house. It's your boy Chris Will, and today I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite sports to watch, play, coach, and ref, and that's volleyball. This past Saturday, the NCAA women's tournament concluded, and today I have my thoughts on the tournament as well as my all-tournament team. So sit back, relax, and welcome to our house. Cue the intro.
In a huddle, you know they in trouble, we bustin' they bubble. I know that we playing the game, but this gon' get real and turn into scuffles. The way I'm gon' touch you, every tackle I make gon' turn into fumble. They turning over the ball, my defensive line make sure that I score. Now all you gon' hear is a roar. The crowd is in awe. What did you think was gon' happen? I don't know what you thought. You see, this is more than a sport. You made a mistake, you walked in the door. This come with a course, you taking a loss. Let me remind you where you are. This is our house. This is our house. This is our house.
So as I said before, the NCAA women's volleyball tournament just finished last Saturday with the Kentucky Wildcats defeating the Texas Longhorns in 4 sets to earn their first national championship in women's volleyball and earn the SEC their first championship as well. Now, normally the volleyball tournament would take place in the fall, but with COVID-19 and schools delaying their athletic seasons, it was pushed to the spring. And honestly, I kind of liked it. It happened in kind of a relatively dead zone for sports with, March Madness had just concluded and there was no college football that it was competing with as it would in the fall. And I really got to give a big thank you and shout out to the NCAA and ESPN for allowing me as a fan to be able to watch every single one of these games on ESPN. I had split screens going, I was watching multiple games at once, and I thought it was so much fun. I thought the quality of these games was absolutely incredible. There were lots of upsets, lots of drama within these games. It really felt like an April Madness, to say the least, and I really enjoyed it, and I really hope that they keep that going. But today, with the conclusion of the tournament, I'm going to announce my all-tournament team. So without further ado, here we go. The setup of this team will be a typical starting lineup for the game of volleyball. So for those of you who don't know, there's going to be 2 middle blockers, there's going to be 2 outside hitters, 2 setters or right sides, and a libero. I'm also going to name a bench. I'll name a 6-person bench with 1 person coming from each position on the court. So these awards are based on player performance solely in the tournament. It's not based on, the coaches poll for All-Americans. It's not based on any regular season performance, just what I saw in the tournament, who I thought played at the top of their game, who brought their best to Omaha and played at the top of their game in the bubble. So here we go. We're going to start with our starting lineup. And at middle blocker, I have 6-foot Lauren Matthews from Western Kentucky. Now, Lauren Matthews is a little undersized for your typical middle. She is innovating the game single-handedly as a 6-foot middle. She had 43 kills in 3 matches as a middle blocker and got them farther in the tournament than many had expected them to, with an upset over Washington State. And the difference between her and other middle blockers was while she's getting all these kills, these 43 kills, she also led it with such efficiency as well. She had a .478 hitting percentage, really compared to a baseball batting average. Typically for a baseball hitter, if you're hitting about 250, that's usually pretty good. That's usually not too bad. So hitting these levels is actually very, very efficient. So Lauren Matthews takes the first spot as our first middle blocker in my all-tournament team. Congrats to Lauren Matthews on a wonderful tournament, and congrats to Western Kentucky for making it as far as they did. So the second middle blocker spot is going to go to Breon Butler from Texas. Texas made it to the national championship game this year with efficient hitting from both the outsides and their middles. Breon Butler was flat out efficient. So you know how I said that, you go by baseball hitting percentage is normally pretty good? Well, Breon Butler opened the tournament with a 899 hit percentage to open the tournament. So .889 to open the tournament. Absolutely ridiculous. She then went on to hit .625 against Wisconsin and hit .400 against Kentucky in the national championship game. And on the entire tournament as a whole, she hit .507. But Breon Butler was super efficient. So my 2 starting middles for my all-tournament team are Lauren Matthews and Breon Butler. Very different in their styles of play, as Lauren Matthews is just a little bit shorter at 6 foot as compared to the 6'4" middle blocker in Breon Butler. So now we're going to move on to the outside hitter position, and we're going to start with our national champion. Stumler takes the first spot. Allie Stumler had a wonderful tournament, absolutely efficient. The 6'1" outside hitter from Kentucky led her team with 2 double-doubles against Purdue and Washington leading into the championship game. She performed at her best on the biggest stage and had a season-high 26 kills in the national championship game against Texas. Allie Stumler was super efficient on the defensive end. On the offensive end, she was getting it done on both sides. So congrats to Allie Stumler on both the national championship and a spot in my all-tournament team. Next up, we have Texas's own 6'2" Logan Eggleston. Logan Eggleston was absolutely huge for the Texas Longhorns, getting them to this national championship game. She led the team with 89 kills in just 5 games, which is about 5 per set that she played, which is absolutely ridiculous. And she had 5 aces against Nebraska and just 6 receiving errors as she's playing all around. Just 6 receiving errors in 5 games was absolutely incredible. She really led this Texas Longhorn team on the deep run they had. Congrats to her. She's just a junior, so I'm sure she's going to come back gunning for that national championship. Next up, we're going to go to the setter spot. When you lead your team to a national championship title and you're the ABCA Player of the Year, ABCA First Team, this is bound to happen. Madison Lilly takes my spot in the all-tournament team as the setter. The senior setter for Kentucky was incredible throughout the tournament. She's been impressive for a very long time. I've watched her since her freshman year. She's been a leader of this championship offense for a very long time. And as I said, a first-team player and this year's Player of the Year. She had 3 double-doubles to finish the tournament with double-digit assists and double-digit digs in 3 of the games, and nearly 14 assists per set. Was absolutely incredible leading this offense with multiple hitters in Allie Stumler, Maddie and Avery Skinner, Azani Teeler. She got everyone involved in this offense and had them hitting at a very efficient level. Her best game of the season came against Washington in the semifinals with 63 assists. She also had 6 aces throughout the tournament and obviously led this Kentucky team to a national championship. In the system, we're going to run a 5-1, so we're going to have one setter and have options around on the outside. So my other right side is going to be Stephanie Samudi from Minnesota. Now, Minnesota did have an early exit, losing to Pittsburgh, but Stephanie Samudi certainly was not the issue in that game. Stephanie Samudi had a wonderful tournament in the 2 games that they did play, so despite an upset to Pittsburgh, she had 36 kills through 2 games, and as an opposite hitter, that is a great number. She had 6 blocks against Pittsburgh, as well as 9 digs in both games of this tournament, so she was doing it on the offensive end and the defensive end, racking up blocks and digging as well. So 36 kills through 2 games is an incredible number. And last but not least, you got to give it up for the Liberos. Liberos do a lot of the dirty work in the game of volleyball. There are defensive players or scrappy players. They're reading everything. And one of the most impressive players I saw in this tournament in any position, Lauren Barnes from Wisconsin. The Libero was absolutely incredible throughout the tournament. There were balls that she was getting to that I was just insanely impressed. And as a Florida Gators fan, I was watching her against my Florida Gators, and oh my goodness, we could not put a ball down without her getting her hands on it. It was incredible. Lauren Barnes was the 2nd-team All-American, and she had a season-high 7 assists against BYU in this tournament, a season-high 2 aces against Florida, and a season-high ridiculous number 28 digs against my University of Florida Gators on just 1 receiving error throughout the entire tournament. Lauren Barnes was absolutely incredible, and that wraps up my starting lineup for my all-tournament team. I would love to see this team get together and play. Unfortunately, it may not happen, but, you know, we never know. Now I'm going to move on to my bench. So we're going to start with the middle blocker, one position in the middle blocker, and that's going to be Lauren Forte from the University of Florida. Now, Lauren Forte went a little under the radar. She was a transfer in the spring. Throughout the regular season, she was a little under the radar. But in the tournament, she really showed out on the defensive end. And actually, she had 25 kills in 3 games, which is a very good number for a middle hitter. And for a team that doesn't necessarily use their middle hitter as much as other teams like Wisconsin and all those. But she had 25 kills through 3 games and honestly hit really efficiently as well. She hit for 500 against Morehead State and 588 against the number 1 ranked Wisconsin Badgers in a game that went to 5 sets. She had 7 blocks against Ohio State and Wisconsin. 7 blocks is a great number to have in very big matches against very good Big Ten teams. And then she had another 4 against Morehead State. So that comes out to 18 blocks through 3 games. That's a very, very good number to have as a middle hitter. So moving on to the outside hitter position, we're going to go back to the Kentucky Wildcats, national champions. We're very efficient on the offensive end, so I got to give Avery Skinner a spot on my bench. She had double-digit kills in 4 out of 5 matches. She had 2 blocks and 24 digs across 5 games. And obviously, she's a national champion. And I think her sister's not far behind her. Maddie Skinner is not too far as a freshman. It will be interesting to see who Maddie Skinner connects with as a setter, with Madison Lilly possibly leaving if she doesn't take up another year. So it's going to be interesting to see, but Avery Skinner takes my first outside hitter position on my bench, and we're moving on to the second outside hitter, and that's going to be Tiara Caesar. Tiara Caesar hit a season-high 4 aces against Wisconsin, a season-high 19 digs against Wisconsin, a season-high 4 assists against Ohio State. She had 17 kills against Ohio State and Wisconsin, and she had 3 blocks against Ohio State. So she really performed at her best against the top teams in the tournament. Now, in terms of hitting efficiency, she wasn't necessarily as efficient as some of the outside hitters in the starting lineup, but I will say on the defensive end, Tiara Caesar definitely stood out to me. She really passed the eye test against Ohio State. They targeted her every single time on serve receive, and she was really eating them up and making them pay for that. So now that we have our 2 outside hitters, we're going to move to a second setter, and that's going to be Jenna Gabriel out of Texas. But I think the way she led this offense and led this Texas offense, she had everyone going. Asia O'Neal, Breon Butler, Skylar Fields, Logan Eggleston were all hitting extremely efficiently, and I think that is a direct result of Jenna Gabriel's setting ability. She had a season-high 18 digs against Penn State, so her on the defensive end was also very efficient, and she averaged about 45.8 assists per match in the tournament, which is extremely efficient for a setter. She led the team to the national final with just about every single member of that offense, as I said, hitting very, very efficiently, and a lot of them should be on this list. Moving on to the second right side spot, I'm going to give this one to Chinaza Nd from Pittsburgh. Now, Pittsburgh went on an incredible run throughout this tournament, upsetting multiple teams. They beat Utah, beat Minnesota, and pushed Washington to a 5th set. She had double-digit kills in every single game, with 63 kills throughout those games, and 4 blocks in just 4 games. So Nd, as a right side hitter, was hitting extremely efficiently, getting lots of kills. And overall, I think in terms of an eye test, any team that's going to push back and beat a team like Utah, a team like Minnesota, and push a team like Washington to 5 sets, upsetting teams, coming in as an unseeded team, deserves some respect. So Nd, you're getting it from me. Congrats on the wonderful tournament. So with the final spot in my all-tournament team, I'm going to turn to the veteran, to the Libero, to the national champion now, and that's going to be Gabby Curry. Gabby Curry has had a wonderful career at Kentucky, but even when you look just at this tournament, she had a double-double against Texas with 13 assists and 14 digs. She had double-digit digs in 4 out of 5 games in the tournament. And honestly, she just makes it look easy. While Lauren Barnes is certainly impressive for Wisconsin, Gabby Curry was right up there with her. And Gabby Curry just seems to be in the right spot before it's even happened. She's reading the game at a very efficient level and just seeing things before they happen. So Gabby Curry, in my opinion, a first-team All-American. I think Liberos deserve much more respect in that aspect. And I think throughout the tournament, Gabby Curry was certainly one of the most impressive Liberos, along with Lauren Barnes. So those two could easily be flip-flopped. That's it for my time here. That's my all-tournament team. Congrats to all the athletes that made it on this list, and there were certainly a lot of athletes that could have been on this list, and a lot of them that made deep runs and were certainly very impressive. So like I said before, I hope ESPN keeps this format, keeps showing us all the games. And that's my time here at our house. I'm Chris Will. Make sure to like and subscribe. I hope you all liked the list. And you know what? Maybe I'll come up with some more as more tournaments happen. So make sure to like and subscribe. Listen on Anchor, listen on Spotify. And have a good one.
This is our house. This is our house. This is our house. This is our house. I got my head in a huddle.